They'll be calling you a radical. This is important. I'm shooting this in the Water School of Art, which I was kicked out of. Oh, God, if you only knew this story. The water school business that I taught at, that I graduated at, I mean, these are the nuclear cartel. These are the people that built the reactor for Fukushima, Japan. So this is incredible, breaking, historic, which confirms every single word Kevin Blanch just said, confirms that I really do have the transcript from inside the Situation Room. I'm going to tell you how this is played out. And so you know, it's finally breaking the truth. After the frogs have been boiled nicely, as I said 7 years ago, standing right there by the pond, they're lying. I read all the emails of Hillary online, Fukushima cover-up. John Holdren has the keys, read verbatim, word for word, what happened on this cover-up. I said 7 years from now, after you frogs have been boiled nicely, they'll come forward with exactly what I'm saying. And the normal side, and everybody will run away, and dying of cancer, the Pacific Ocean dead, whatever will become the new normalcy bias. Frogs have been boiled nicely. And so let's get into this. So let me tell you how this played out. So I get a tip yesterday morning, a phone call, a blocked anonymous phone call. The phone call says, Kevin, there's an interview out there with Holdren. It's confirming everything you've ever said about what happened on the cover-up of Fukushima. Let me tell you. So this is how it played out. Remember, the name of this paper is the Pacific Standard. Pacific. This girl's of Asian descent. She's in Washington, D.C. Now, she gets an interview a few months ago with John Holdren. As I said, John Holdren, the science and technology team, the kingpin on the freaking Fukushima cover-up. She says, it's out, confirming everything you've said from day one. She says she got an interview with him, and he just railed on Trump. Called him a liar, blah, blah, just railed. Well, she's of Asian descent, so she started Googling. She knows about Fukushima, obviously. It's called the Pacific Standard. So she's Googling Holdren to find out more. You Google John Holdren, all you get is Kevin Blanch. She says, oh my God, she got your YouTube videos, and then, of course, Holdren's done the same thing, and Holdren knows I know. So anybody who's anybody in this Fukushima cover-up, they all know. There's only one guy on earth that knows. Kevin Blanch knows, because they know what I know, and then I'm spooning it all over the internet, and they're watching, because I tag their names in it, I tag whatever, and they're like, oh my God, he knows. So she gets a second interview with him. So she gains his trust. Now, I think the anonymous phone call was probably her. Okay? She asks him point blank about Fukushima, and they get into a Q&A in detail. She knows what to ask because she's been watching my videos. She asked him, well, in the early days, when did you know? So here it is. So, of course, I couldn't get it. It was block to block. This tells you how powerful my army. I knew if I did that video yesterday, if it was out there, it would show up. Multiple people sent it to me. So here we go. This is the text. Friday, March 11th, Washington time. Radiation levels in the Fukushima Daiichi power plant reported to be rising at 4:45 p.m. at the Tokyo Power Electric reported radioactivity material had leaked. Now, did they tell any of that? No, they just covered up. I'm the old guy saying, no, it's meltdown. This proves they knew it was a meltdown that day. As the plasma's physicist, Holdren, took the lead on the organizing of the United States response, which I've reported that in detail, that Holdren took the entire lead in the keys. I've reported that over and over to nausea. The story, I'm getting a reflection, I don't have my glasses. The story was not included in the original interview and is available, have exclusive for the Pacific Standard Premium members. That's why I didn't get this premium member. Okay, well, I've got it, and you're going to hear it. Below is John Holdren's telling of the U.S. So this is everything. It just proves that what I have is very real. That's her name, Francie. So you wake up, you learn from the news that Fukushima disaster happened. Now, I was in the Energy Solutions dump facility protesting the Italian waste coming here to Utah when it happened. When I got home, I went crazy. I knew. So anybody who was anything was leaking everything to me. Obama immediately convened the senior team in the Situation Room and had an assembly on the screen. We had brainstorming sessions about ways the U.S. could help. I went from a little after 2 in the afternoon to after 11 at night. And then I went home. This is day one. At 5 after midnight, the phone rings. And it's the situation we're saying we're going to continue this afternoon's discussion by conference and start it. This is in the middle of the night. They're in panic mode, just like Kevin Blanch has said in 100%. Why do you think they've gone after me so hard? I was in touch with the chairman of the Japanese Atomic Energy Commission by Saturday midnight by phone. By Saturday. This happened on Saturday. Stephen Chu and I. Stephen Chu was Secretary of the Energy at the time, which, by the way, they switched to Ernest Moxley Fuel, which I reported that when they did that on the cover from MIT. Stephen Chu was the Secretary of Energy at the time. We were in the process of setting up an advisory body of the country's leading experts in controlling reactor accidents while they were in industrial, government, and universities. That is to deal with this accident. They virtually every night we would be in touch by phone with the leaders of the Japanese efforts to share our latest ideas and how to get latest reports on what was going on. So the degree of the now hear me out. I'm inside one of the right here, Weber State, the belly of the beast. So it was MIT. It was, as I've reported, all these guys. I'm the guy that leaked that this even existed. An old timer came to me and I leaked this into the internet that there's a 32-team panel and it's all universities. Jeff Melt was on the board. Remember the jobs are the most corrupt CEO in human history. The second general. I'm inside General Electric's art school right now, the Water School of Art. I'm in it. So he was on the committee. You cannot make this up. I'm in New York for the Helen Caldecott with a bunch of people, including Noam Chomsky. We're over at the museum. So we go to the Metropolitan. This guy, he's standing next to Lander's Peak, the famous painting. That's why it's important I do this inside here. That famous painting of here, of Lander's Peak, the Hudson School. This guy reaches out and touches the painting. He actually, and I jump all over his ass. And he looks over and sees my shirt. Oh, you're Kevin Blanch, out of nowhere. And so I'm like, well, who are you? And he says, well, we're in town for the opera. We're here with MIT, blah, blah, blah. And he says, I'm so-and-so, head of the Obama Fukushima mediation team. What's your name? He's from MIT. So another guy, oh, I'm from Michigan, I'm with him. And the argument breaks out. It's on. It's on. Well, here comes Ackerman, gets in the middle of it. Panty paints it, trying to sell him a painting. I'm going crazy. You motherfuckers, you know, blah, 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 blah. Admitting. I mean, what's the odds? Okay. What were the major ways the U.S. government aided in the Fukushima response? One was sharing a lot of insight about where the vulnerabilities are and the accident was underway and it could be done to minimize the danger. Two, working in the questions of where the radioactivity was going and where it could be delivered to the people different places. One of the things that we quickly figured out, day one, now remember this is day one, figured out that Tokyo was not in danger and that was not necessary. Therefore, to evacuate the U.S. Embassy and the other Americans in Tokyo. This is important. You see my data in all 150 miles away. Rachel, we put that data out there. It's independent. It's gargantuous. This is Tokyo. Remember, the wind was blowing out for the first 6 days. I reported. Sanjay Gupta and Anderson Cooper were there, and I know for a fact they were briefed and got out of there by the powers there be, Holdren and gang, and they were briefed as soon as they got to New York. Sanjay Gupta went on his freaking dog and pony show, which they pulled down that transcript of Son of My Army, got it out. We had long interaction for the Japanese about evacuation zone, where the plume was going. They knew where it was going, right here. And I'm the guy that leaked right here that the plume was already being detected in Sacramento within 12 hours. I have it. It's in the internet. I put it in the internet. The third day, I think I put that video up. I'll tag it. So they knew the plume was coming here. They knew it. Remember Radnat? Gina McCarthy said it. They immediately crashed and took it down. Remember? They knew where the plume was going. We sent over, okay, Japanese, blah, blah, blah. We also provided, now here, get this, I love this one. We had a long interaction with the Japanese in places where the plume was going. We had models than the Japanese models, we had better models than the Japanese did. We also provided robots that were designed to operate in a high radioactive environment, which the Japanese did not have. We went down over, they sat in Japanese customs for a week while customs authorities argued about whether this didn't violate Japanese laws against importing U.S. robots because Japan was trying to protect the competitive position in robot technology. So some strange things happen. Don't you love some? Now, hear me on this. It's been widely reported by TEPCO, by Japan, by everybody that's inside there that the robots melded U.S. and Japanese for 7 years. The first robot that ever got in there was just a few months ago. And it got in there and sure shit, China syndrome, big freaking holes. The very first robot it has got in was over 7 years after the fact. The dispatch originally appeared in the blah, 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 blah tags. Now this is just part of it. So I'll post more of it, and so we'll keep going with this. This is an incredible historical thing because he's finally admitting it. He's admitting it. Now, where I do this video is really important. That's who built the reactors at Fukushima, Japan, which is General Electric. I stood right here, short General Electric at 30, well over a year ago, a year and a half ago. I've been on the Chicago Bridge and Iron, it's the same cartel. This is, Jeffrey Melton was part of that 32 team. MIT, Michigan, Weber State, Oregon State, these people. And I'm the guy that leaked that in, and I've screamed and screamed and yelled, look, John Holden has the keys. Now, John Holden was a eugenicist from Cal Berkeley. Look it up, look it up, look it up. He wrote his PhD on eugenics. He made the thing about the world being awfully populated. He made a big stink about it in 1980. Bet everybody on the gold and the silver bet, and he lost the bet, by the way. He was wrong. And, you know, he went over, he's a eugenicist. Now, he says in the other interview, and I'll post all these interviews, you know, like premium members. I'm sure it was her who called me. Like I said, I mean, I'm so glad she did this. I mean, now, was this orchestrated to get out? I believe so. I believe Holden probably orchestrated. He's at Harvard now. You can go right up and talk to him. Now, of course, he's not going to talk to me because he's pissed at Trump. Look, these guys have got to cover their ass at this point now. And he fucked up on this. From what I understand, this whole thing's classified still. Now, Abe, whatever you want to call that scumbag, he didn't come here forever. No Japanese PM was here. He came to Harvard. Now, remember Aaron Swartz, Heyman, and Ortiz. You know that whole dynamic. You know, I knew him. Heyman's the guy that went after Harvard. Harvard Law, Barack Obama, freaking John Holden, you know, then MIT Media Lab. Now, I was in front of the White House when they switched it. I led the Million Mass March, and I was there, right there, when they fired Chu, hired Ernest Moxie Fuel, Ernest Moxie Fuel was number 2 on this panel, number 2. You know, it's the same old players. And it's ironic that Trump's, well, not Trump, but this insane Congress that handed out this to all these same people. They handed out a major grant, and I'll post the tag, a major grant yesterday to every one of these universities to promote more of this, including Oregon State, Weber State. I don't know if Weber got any, these scumbags, but MIT, Michigan, you know, all these, we know who the players are. This is historic as hell, and what it does is convert. Now remember, I got leukemia in the fall, was given 2 months to live. Open heart surgery, split open. Kicked off Medicaid. My doctor, Fimble Peterson, you go to the top of the LDS East State Bone Marrow and ask him. He says, you survived without a bone marrow. This is the biggest, you're the biggest walking miracle in my 40-year career. And he's considered one of the greatest oncologists in the world. He says, never have I seen somebody kicked off Medicaid while they're in the fight. 2015, out of nowhere, I was kicked off Medicaid. They literally tried to kill me because I needed my gallbladder out. They knew the chemo would warp my gallbladder. They knew my heart was going. They knew I needed open heart surgery. They kicked me off Medicaid so nobody would touch me. I was broke. The hospital had to cut me loose. I was flying blind with no money, no insurance. And I was kicked off while I'm the son of an atomic veteran, Special Forces Marine who was killed in the Nevada test. The very own government gave me this. You think about this historic work. Wow. I was right the entire time, word for word, verbatim. Wow. And like I said, I want to tell people, it doesn't matter how many people are watching at this point. I mean, all these people with information, none of them did anything with it. And I want to say this, what really hurt us was the guys like Jim Stone and those people, oh, they did this on purpose, that type of rabbit hole shit, which is all bullshit. They did it on purpose when they built reactors and cheated. Waters Construction cheated, which is Fluor. F-L-U-R, that's who they are, General Electric. They cheated. They cheated. And it wasn't the tsunami and knocked out, it was the shake. They can only handle about a 7.1. The cores are on. They blew up. I knew that. You remember, he's admitting that they knew within the first few hours. And they lied to everybody, including Obama. Well, I want you to know what I know. We're tracking. There's nothing in the plume. Obama, the greatest lie ever told. On March 17th, They were all flown to South America, including Jeff Immelt, including John Holdren, including Chu, all these players, MIT, freaking Chicago Bridge and Iron, all of them, to orchestrate the greatest crime in human history. And by the way, Abit comes here, goes to MIT Media Lab. Why would he go to MIT? That's where the controllers of the information. That's why Aaron Swartz downloaded it. Oh boy, what a fucking story. And why I'm full of cancer. Think about the trolls they hired. In Canada, when I got up there 4 years ago right now, he had an Energy Solutions hat on. These PR firms, we had tracked him down. They hired Edelman up there to go after me. You think about what I put up. But they didn't count on freaking Kevin Blanch. What a story. Stay tuned in.